Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. How's everybody tonight? So I haven't seen you all in a couple of days. Well, I didn't broadcast yesterday, so one day without me won't hurt. But anyway, uh, I got my thumbnail. What if? There's a couple of what ifs we can discuss because people have been getting frustrated and hot headed, and I tell you, you see a lot of these videos come out that keep talking about how we got him now, at least on Utizzle. And I go through those comments, and although I see a lot of people making fun of those videos, you still see the real diehards. I mean, the diehards that just can't stand Trump no matter what you say, what he does. So is there ever going to be any change in people like that? And what the heck do we do with them when we start our new republic? I mean, they got to fit in somewhere. I mean, I don't know, maybe buy some aspirin. I don't know, because they're going to need some aspirin. But anyway, let me see who's coming in. Hi, Zoe, Bonnie. How are you doing? First come in, then Richard, Leisha, John. Hi, Diane. How are you? Linda. Joy, nice to see you. So, I hope you guys are enjoying your weekend and have some great plans for the 4th of July coming up, the actual 4th. Now, wait till people get in the chats. I might have to ask it again, but where's Trump going to have a fireworks celebration? I thought might have been Mount Rushmore. Was I daydreaming or something? Maybe somebody out there in the chat knows, because they wouldn't let him do fireworks at Mount Rushmore. I remember one time, and he said recently that they're not going to stop it this time. Something to that effect. Oh yeah, France is order out of chaos right now. I got that in a thumbnail too, with France. Hi, Quilt. Hi, Wanda. Yeah, they're waiting for their orders. Hi, Debbie. How are you? Rubber Toe. Diane, we got our Diane. Do we have 2 Dianes, 2 Debbies? We got to get all of our Debbies, Dianes, Lone Wolves, everybody in. Georges, where's our Georges? Hi, Kim. Melinda. Debbie King, Debbie Lance. Yep. Good. Well, let's see. Who else is going to get? I didn't get a chance to see who else was broadcasting today because I was busy checking all my usual sources and trying to keep up with Mr. T. And for some reason, people were posting a specific post on Truth Social that has to do with that particular letter. I'll get into that in a second. See what y'all know about it. But be careful of words that might get me in trouble, right? So use, if you got to use a word that you think might be scanned, let's put it that way. Use a number for a vowel. Okay, always remember that. Zeros for O's is great. 3s for E's is great. 4s for A's is great. So anyway, hi, Donna. How are you? Hi, Joy. Oh, I'll put you to sleep, Joy. Just listen to my southern drawl as I talk, and before you know it, especially since when you wake up, you can listen to it again if you missed anything. Hi, Rick. Hi, Damon. Hi, Reba. Let me see. Hi, Melinda. Let's see. Kim. Make sure I get everybody. If I miss somebody, forgive me. And if I say somebody twice, great. Kicking Bird, how you doing? So, yeah, this situation in France, again, I have to be careful with what I say. But I think anybody watching the videos coming out of there, and I've got some video clips, and I was thinking, boy, I have to be real careful if I was going to put them on YouTube because they frown on that kind of stuff, especially when it shows the obvious to people. And what is obvious to me is that let's just say the people predominantly in the videos in France appear to me to be new arrivals. Is that a term I can use? Okay. And I saw one video where this older woman was on her knees and praying in front of the police and holding her hands out, I guess trying to get a photo op. And the translation was that, if the police made a move on these people, it would look, I don't even know if I could say this word, RACISM, huh? So I'm like, well, wait a minute. Why would that be the case? Oh, that's why, because most of the people doing the riots look like new arrivals, quote, quote. Okay. Thank you, Rick. Hi, Pamela. You got a doctor's appointment, Joy? Well, just relax. Awaken Trillium, how you doing? All you got to do is relax. I told Red about a secret one time. You just relax your forehead first. You think about it. You know how many times people go to sleep, and when you're laying there trying to sleep, just think about, all of a sudden, just say to yourself, what is my face doing right now? Have I got a concerned look on my face? Do I have a mean, mad look on my face? A lot of times you'll find out your eyebrows are all pinched together. Your lips are tight. You're trying to sleep. Well, just start with your forehead and let it relax. Start with your eyes. Don't crunch them up. Just relax them. Go down to the mouth. Then your shoulders, your arms. Do that. Not as fast as I just did it, but take your time and make sure you're in a nice, relaxed physical position. Even your face, starting with your face, and you'll feel a lot better. Go right on down to your feet. So anyway, you got breaking news about the White House, Diane? What this time? Oh, no charge against Mr. T for Georgia. Well, all of those cases have been put on hold till this federal one is being taken care of. And a lot of the stuff is being thrown out because they're not charges that are written to any standard of law. They're just blowing hot air. So, yeah, I've been watching Dave for, oh my gosh, 7 years, 8 years maybe. So, let's see. Alrighty, and now where was I at? So try that, Joy. Maybe you'll get a good night's sleep. But main thing is, relax while you're listening to the program. Take it easy. So I got cry more in my thumbnail because, man, are they crying. The march towards sanity is happening. There's a march towards sanity, and Trump's not even in office. And these commentators, these people you run into every day, and for those of you who aren't tuned in to the broadcast, Friday night we had a person who was convinced that the Constitution had been broken by the Supreme Court, and well, we tried our best to talk to this person, but these people and the media and the politicians know. This all goes back to Trump. He's not even in the White House rattling their cage. Diane, you're talking about X22 and ZMan. Why don't you go watch that? Do you want me to just close down broadcast? We all go watch ZMan? So anyway, try to get my train of thought back. Yeah, Joy. Oh, you're in our prayers. So I can't pull up ZMan. We could all have a ZMan party. So anyway, let me just see what anybody else might be bringing up. And see who else is in here. If Nikki might have made it in. Hi, Nikki. How are you doing? How are you doing? So Mr. T brought up that they're going to be bringing up those other charges. Fannie Willis, Fannie 2x4 in Georgia, is running across her stumbling blocks, namely common sense. And this coming after they announced that they're going to file charges against Mr. T, another leak, I might add, for J6 and for election interference, insurrection, all this fun stuff. But I want to make a point. Hi, Marla. How you doing? And not to any individual in particular, although we did have a very interesting visitor Friday. But like I said, I was watching some of these MSNBC videos and things of that nature that were predicting another disaster for Trump. Here's one. MSNBC, a former U.S. attorney discusses very damaging audio tapes of Trump discussing classified documents and why it could lead to additional charges against the former president, even after the initial indictment. And that was put up yesterday, late night. And I was going through those comments, and they were about 50-50. Some people going, you guys are really wearing this out. What a joke. Which was encouraging because you used to not see any of that. So there are a lot of people that it's entering their brain that this stuff is nothing but a game. But then again, you had a lot of people, like the person we had in Friday night, that insist he needs to go to jail. What's it taking so long? He's committed treason and this and that. So just on the outside shot, somebody's listening in that has doubts about what's going to happen to Mr. T. It's a matter of law that he can keep any classified documents that he wants. He retains a top level clearance. It's not revocable. Okay? Unless there was a successful removal of him being removed from office. Even Nixon had top clearance because he resigned. Okay? There was no trial. So, and Gerald Ford pardoned him. So he had top level clearance. That's the bottom line. It's already been ruled on, and it sounds old to us, but maybe 2 or 3 people that ever listen to this broadcast might be news to them. Even a person that is a federal judge that cannot stand Trump and imprisoned Paul Manafort and ran oh gosh, what's his name? Somebody help me in the chats. The one who Roger Stone, the one who ran Roger Stone, through the ringer, that judge decided the Clinton Sox case, which said unequivocally that President Clinton and every other president enjoys the authority to retain whatever documents they want. And my prediction is going to be that the people that are pushing this, as far as people with law degrees, people who are prosecutors, people that are judges that are not making proper decisions, that are dragging this out, there's going to be accountability. And that can range from anywhere, depending on their mindset at the time, jail time, to maybe just a loss of their license to practice. Or they get pulled off the air, or whichever news service is knowingly putting out false information, or if they're negligent, that they could be fined. So nobody's walking away from this. And I'm just talking about the documents business, because it's a ridiculous thing. It's a ridiculous thing to constantly put out on the table that President Trump has done anything in violation of law concerning national security documents. As a matter of fact, the only evidence that's come out that classified information was either through gross negligence or on purpose divulged to foreign nations, as we all know, the Clinton server. And as we're hearing now, the Biden gang, okay? We also have evidence that Adam Schiff was removing things from SCIFs and giving them to people who were not authorized to have the information, namely Biden. And that Biden has had contacts with foreign entities. His sons had contact with foreign entities, and they received a lot of money. That is the bottom line fact. So it is getting nauseating. Even though I don't like being mean with people. I don't like being condescending to people. I don't want to call names, to any specific person. But in a general way, sometimes I do. Okay. But as far as things go with this document case, the only thing people are doing is digging a hole for themselves, whether it's a professional punishment or if there's some criminal actions going on. Mens res, actus res, the meaning of their actions and the actions themselves. So, yeah. Let me see who else come in since we've been going. Hi, Alicia. Let's see. Just checking the chats. Hi, Melvita. Tomorrow's your grandson's birthday. Babin, B-A-B-A-N. Oh, well, happy birthday to the little one. So anyway, we're not the only ones who notice that this situation in France, especially after Mr. T said twice, France is no longer France. What does he mean by that? Of course, we know what he means by it. The culture has been overrun. Okay, physically overrun by, quote, new arrivals. And that's purposeful. We're seeing that in our own country. Of course, we're a much larger nation. and we absorb it a bit better. But I'm sure that there are examinations of these actions and upheavals. Even when I look at some of these brief clips of what's going on in the streets, I can point out a ringleader, an orchestrator, okay? And then you've got the, just the mayhem foot soldiers. So let's hope I'm not hoping there's tracking of that going on. I know by our side there's tracking going on. And I still am of a mind that there are multiple militaries working with our military, and I believe the French government is one of them. They're one of the early ones on board, and that they're coordinating information. But it's guerrilla war. It's an insurgency inside France. We're seeing it. I don't know how far it will go, but during this time, people in the dark might need to hear that there's a picture, for instance, of Mike Shell in the past, has a glass of Chardonnay on a boat, and you see a reflection of Notre Dame burning. Now, she's on a super yacht off the coast of Greece, and that was Tom Hanks that was with her and Barrio. So it's, awful odd how these things are happening, and Greece is close enough to France in my book. That raises these question marks, and even people that haven't been watching are starting to wonder and seek answers for themselves. That's why I encourage people to stay away from the fantastic right now, because the things that are going on are fantastic enough to what I'll call a newbie who's just getting into this. It's the information dissemination operation is designed to bring in newbies, okay? And we want to support that. We don't want to go outside and jump way off the cliff with stuff that'll scare people off. But while this is going on, you get Mel Gibson, okay, and the movie about child exploitation. I'll put it that way. You got Elon Musk discussing child exploitation. Now we see these riots and these upheaval. Okay, that reminds everybody of the summer of love here in this country. Yeah, falafel, we see it. We didn't see it. We did see it coming. And let's think about the people that what's the percent in this country we've got to get on board with us? I'm thinking it's about 30% that are really not awake. And out of that 30%, there's a 10% group that will never wake up. Never. So we need that remaining 20%. We got to be between 80 and 90, and we're a lot closer than people think. Hi, Pappy Two Bears. How you doing? So anyway, I want to remind everybody of something. I can't remember if I put it in my title or not. I had the notion in my mind of you can't always get what you want. If you remember when Mr. T started doing his rallies, that was his theme song. You can't always get what you want. And everybody was like, wow, what's that about? And even the Rolling Stones were bucking him, trying to make him take that song down. We don't want you using that song. And Mr. T stuck to his guns and kept using the song for like a year. And we finally figured it out, that we were in for the long haul, because the song says you can't always get what you want, but you'll find sometimes. No, if you try sometimes, you just might find you get what you need. You get what you need. So at that time, at the beginning of his rallies, what we wanted. We wanted people getting locked up for being crooks. We wanted things to stop that were going on in our schools. But we were silenced, and there was too large of a group of the population that didn't understand the things we already knew. That was after Mr. T got in office. But before Mr. T, people say, oh, forget this. And don't even, if they're not awake by now, forget them. Well, I'll tell you why we shouldn't think that way right now. And somebody put in the comments a very nice comment that made me think, and is true, said, I'm sick of throwing pearls before swine. Okay? Pearls before swine. When I was trying to talk to somebody who was a Mr. T hater, right? So yeah, you don't want to throw pearls before swine. But we're not at that point. We've got a lot of people who, and many of our friends and family, that we need to throw pearls in front of them to wake them up, and they're not swine. Because remember this, just remember this, folks, and be honest to yourself, because I am guilty of it. I'm guilty of what I'm going to say. I ran around putting signs up for John McCain, okay? I ran around getting Romney bumper stickers. Even more disgusting than that, I ran around with a Bush for president bumper sticker. I was in the dark. I was running around getting McCain signs out of dumpsters and thinking how awful it was, because it was the first election I ever saw where people were vandalizing cars with the McCain bumper sticker, going in people's yards, stealing signs in the presidential election. First time I ever saw that was when Obama ran. But now we know. Now we know. It was 6 of one, half a dozen of other. I would have been just as well off running around putting up Obama signs, just as well off running around putting Clinton signs up, because it's the same suit, different bow tie. Okay, folks? Same smell, different Johnny house between the parties, the uniparty. So we weren't swine then. We just didn't know. We just didn't know. And now here we are trying to get people to wake up with us. And that's why I'm saying, when people inject fantastic stuff, that if you think about it, if you talk about that fantastic stuff instead of the hot issues that are right in front of us, $1 billion Biden, okay, all the things that are happening right now. Let me tell you, there's a very sophisticated counter psyop to get us to go really cuckoo. Some of it may be true, some of it may not be true. Time machines, 6-mile underground tunnels with lizards in them, stuff like. Don't even touch that with a 10-foot pole when you're dealing with a newbie, okay? We got plenty of things that are crazy enough about the child trafficking, all the money, what the Clintons did in Haiti, okay? Where we got to be able to show them facts that have already been published, not rumors or not some channel with, a good following, but you know what I'm talking about, folks. That's right. We always want to see the best in everyone, but boy, were we fooled. We sure were. We sure were. Rick, same smell, different outhouse is what I say. Yeah, that's right, Diane. I got a picture of Pappy Bush, and they can't be told; they have to be shown. That's right. Gates was suspicious about the Twin Towers. Yeah, now we're not suspicious. We know about the Twin Towers. And Mr. T's he's promised us that that's going to be looked at. He promised us about the Kennedy assassination is going to come out. He's promised us that a lot of nuggets, as he called them, nuggets about Biden are still going to come out. As a matter of fact, this is the first time he used language as strong as he did with Biden, called him a criminal and a liar. And he said, I have respect for the office. And I don't use terms like that. But since they've done what they did to me, he 45th president, they're not showing any respect for the office. So that's one of the times when you do fight fire with fire. I've said many times in the past, you can't fight fire with fire all the time because you'll burn down the house. But sometimes you fight fire with fire. And him calling Biden a criminal and a liar, he gave his reasoning for that. That's right, Prototype. What's going on in France? Or you got three groups. You got the mayhem makers, and you've got ideologues that have a specific ideal in mind, which is Marxist, fascist centric every single time. There's all those different terms is the same as communism, and even that you can just take it straight to Satanism, straight to the Church of Satan. Marxism, socialism, fascism, all those terms. So and then the third part of the group is the orchestrators, the ones who will lead the cells, coordinate with each other, each cell. And that's the three groups you got. And if you've got that planted around in the city, you can cause a lot of trouble, especially when the sun goes down. That's right, Prototype. Georgie Porgy, see, you got to use zeros instead of O's, Prototype, when you use his name. Please do that for me in the future. So, because that's a protected name, you know that. Hope you do. So, and like I say, military intelligence, you can bet they're using facial recognition. You can bet that they're tracking methods, okay? And they do have some counter tech to them, because I don't know if a lot of you have seen where they were cutting down one of these, some people call them flag poles, telephone poles, a lamp pole, whatever. But at the top, they've got some electronics that we're seeing in a lot of our cities and towns that can, they get some kind of electronic signal from vehicle tags on your car that store information and map information. A lot of people tie that into the attempt to create 15-minute cities, but it's all part of the big brother culture that's been coming at us for decades. They're just getting around to the tech. But these mayhem makers in France, they're aware of this stuff. And the average person doesn't know that in this country right now, any town with a stoplight, that they had cameras on for years. It was like an old friend of mine said, They're one wire away. That's what he always used to say. Just one wire away to being able to track everybody. And this was way before this high-tech stuff come in. But a lot of people don't realize that those things are collating photographs, electronic data gathered off of these new types of tags you put on your vehicles. Even your inspection stickers has data in them that can be gathered by these electronic sensors. And people a year ago, 5 years ago, would have called me crazy. Well, it's not crazy anymore. And no, they're not on our side, the side of fair government and freedom, these mayhem makers, but they are cutting those damn poles down that have that type of equipment on them. So, yeah, they don't realize, though, that they're feeding in and undermining the very thing they're demanding, their own freedom. But where the Marxists, communists, all them miss the point. They want their gravy, they want their freedom at the expense of their fellow citizens. A patriot, an American patriot, does not look at it that way. We want it for all citizens. We don't have scapegoats. We don't have boogeymen as far as who should be treated better than anybody else. All men are created equal, all men and women, however they want to phrase it. We got to live up to that creed. We want to live up to that creed. But they attack others, and they think that is righteous because it benefits them. It's just really that simple. Diane says, Gateway Pundit just reported. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, really, Chris? They're doing that at Six Flags over Georgia? That's right, Falafel. God does not favor one race over another. Doesn't say that anywhere in there. I was listening to where Ketanji Brown was questioning about the other big loss they suffered, crime, or about the website. And of course, that ties into baking cakes. People bake me a cake that looks like a phallus. Bigot. No, you can't make people do that. But Ketanji Brown was saying, well, if a gay person wants someone who is offering a public service to make them a website for gay people, and they refuse, isn't that the same? Now get this reasoning, folks. Isn't that the same as someone who is doing photography for the public that says, well, I can't have a Santa picture. You can't take your picture with Santa because you're black. And my conviction is that only white children can sit on Santa's lap. As sure as I'm sitting here in this chair telling you that, she said that. Nauseating. You can just imagine Clarence Thomas's eyeballs rolling up to where he was looking out of the back of his head. And that was her reasoning. And I put in the comments, yeah, I saw that in the Constitution about Santa pictures. I remember seeing that. And the Bible also mentions Santa pictures, only white people with Santa. So how they convolute, but the thing is, you have people listening to that pattern of reasoning, nodding their head. They can't see past their nose. Those are the people that I don't know, that may be the 10% we'll never reach. Wait a minute, I got a notification. All right, Gary, give me a couple of booms, Gary. Thank you, Gary, for helping me out in the Buy Me a Coffee. Let me see how old this notice is. 6 minutes ago. Wow, Jimmy Crickets. Thank you, Gary. Give me a couple of booms. Boom, pow. Just a reminder, folks, this is a viewer-supported and creator-supported channel only. I have a link for Buy Me a Coffee in the description. I don't have PayPal. I put up the reason why. Next time I do a picture show, I will put another picture of that up there again, because PayPal was involved in some rainbow things and things that I felt were supporting exploiting of young ones. So I don't use PayPal, except an account I opened up 10 years ago or somewhere around there that I use for emergencies. And I don't use Patreon because I remember when they kicked out everybody I used to watch on Utizzle, and some people are going back to them. I don't forgive. Okay, so that's the only reason I use Buy Me a Coffee, because I do not want to support companies that do not support conservatives or people that look at things from a biblical perspective. So, or want to harm others who look at things from a biblical perspective. So that's why I use Buy Me a Coffee. So thank you, Gary. Thank you much. So let's see. That's right. She's mentally challenged. That is when John Roberts put out a statement. He didn't want the justices sniping at each other. Elena Kagan came up with something, and I can't remember the details of it like I did with Ketanji Brown. But I tell you, those opinions, dissenting opinions, have got to be preserved and really looked at for educational purposes, for what not to do. I mean, this is a historic level of ignorance, okay, of the law, ignorance of ethics, ignorance of quite a few things. But I was discussing what was going to happen because of what Jack Smith is doing. Well, I think that these decisions and these dissents, when the smoke settles, Elena Kagan's going to be gone lawfully, and Sotomayor. That they have demonstrated that they do not have the mental capacity to serve effectively on the court, and I wouldn't be surprised if they can take some of these dissents and plainly show that they are no friend to the Constitution and do not support the Constitution. And with those dissents in hand, would be plenty to have them replaced. Unlike the impeachment for the president, there is no requirement for high crime and misdemeanor. There is for the president, but there is not for the Supreme Court. I remember, I will have to go back and look at Bill Bennett's three-book series, Last Best Hope. I don't know, some of you may have read that. I read all 3 volumes cover to cover. There was a time in the 1800s where some of the senators wanted to get rid of one justice and put in another. And they read the Constitution and said, you know, why are we doing it? Because we want to, because we need that seat. We want that seat. No particular reason except they thought the judge was less than par. So, yeah, but bet a lot of you has seen that. What's her face? AOC. She laid out the blueprint for their attack on the Supreme Court. That's what's coming up. Thank you for the booms, Nikki, Gary, Jersey Joe. Thank you. I appreciate the booms. And anyway, she put out a I took a recording of it and saved it for a picture show. It's like 2 minutes and 30 seconds where she said how they were going to do it. They're going to start subpoena. She wants to subpoena Justice Roberts. Okay. And of course, we're not real happy with him anyway. But she was talking about Clarence Thomas's wife. She was talking about Alito, saying that they were basically walking along the edge of criminality. Just unbelievable kind of talk that you would never hear before. He had never heard before. But the thing she was saying about Alito, she was saying that he was dealing with some lobbyists or something. I don't. When I play it, you'll understand her specific allegation. But that these people were pushing to eliminate Joe Biden's debt forgiveness for college loans. So what? Everybody that doesn't have a college loan is for that. The only ones that for that are the ones that are either their kids themselves or have to. They're just beggars. All right, they think nothing of developing principles, throwing away their principles. Okay, if they have principles, they'll throw them away. If they don't have principles, they won't try to develop any. If they feel they're getting some cheese, if they feel they're going to get paid back. And the thing is, this decision, these were all important decisions, but this one about the debt forgiveness, okay, is huge, because that was nothing but a university money laundering scheme, okay? We all know that Georgie Porgy and his non-government organizations siphon money from these colleges. They go from one pocket to the other, to these colleges, back to these non-government organizations. They influence public policy, which also happens to mean that they influence where the flow of public funds goes. So you have these thousands of graduates walking around with these Ivy League diplomas. You think of all of them, the Columbia, Berkeley, Yale, Harvard, on down the line, that reward academically, hand out diplomas for ideologies that are Marxist and communist, will never fly in the private sector, but they get them into the government structure. That is where the infiltration has been happening. Okay, the recruitment, the unlawful psychological warfare campaigns are in these colleges. And if they succeeded in having all this so-called college debt paid, they already succeeded by having the government assume it or subsidize it with lower interest rates. They already got a coup there, where they're being paid huge amounts of money to give out worthless degrees. They'll be worthless if the pipeline into public service is crushed shut. Because these diplomas and fancy wallpaper they hand out for $100,000 are worthless outside of government, for lack of a better word, TEAT, okay, being on the government teat, okay? They're valuable if that's where you're going, because that's who they want to recruit. All these embedded bureaucrats, these Bolshevik apparatchiks that are embedded, they're all going to get thrown out. And Trump has said it in no uncertain terms that they'll be marched out of those government offices. And it's a crippling blow, not right now. You don't see the effects right now, but you will. It is a body shot that's going to cripple the deep state. Haha, Diane, yes, he did tell the snake story. He did tell the snake story. Yeah, Roberts will be gone too. No, I don't think he called Linda Graham a snake, but he, as a matter of fact, he did. He did. In all fairness, he did stand up for Graham, and we all have to remember Graham spectacularly went to bat for Judge Kavanaugh. He did that in a spectacular fashion. Now, whether he was forced to do it or he did it for genuine passion, I don't know. But there's no denying that he made some historic statements during the Kavanaugh confirmation. Lone Wolf said, PayPal banned me. Yeah, that's right. That's why I don't use them. If I'm in an emergency, I'll use them. Oh, Germany next? Yeah, well, it's already been happening here in the U.S. So, okay, I will send AOC to Iraq. Put another zero on that falafel towards our mortgage. As much as houses have gone up, but houses haven't gone up as much as cars. And that's right, it is to buy votes, a vote buying scheme. And that's Ed Johnson said that himself. Lyndon Baines Johnson, okay, said that himself as far as the Great Society, okay, welfare checks, food stamps, all that stuff was started after the assassination of John F. Kennedy. And it was for votes. It was not for the public welfare. It destroyed African-American families in the cities. The system, if you don't have a husband, you get more money. If you don't have a man in the house, you get more money. I used to say Uncle Sam had the biggest harem in the world. That's right, B-Dog. The symbols are the same. Yes, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and share. Nikki said, thank you. That's right, trade school better than college. Man, I was swinging a hammer in the 9th grade. And that is the thing, too. Falafel putting it out there that what the current crop of children are not being taught was how many people under communist regimes lost their lives through starvation, outright. Well, they call them purges, but it is red rum. It's spelled backwards. Red rum spelled backwards. Mao, Stalin, Pol Pot are all notorious for just lining people up that got in the way. If you so much as looked like you might be a problem, they took care of you. By that, I don't mean in a good way. Not the way communism promises to take care of you. We'll take care of you from cradle to grave. Namely, they'll take care of you. You'll be in the grave quick, okay? Your mom took care of the cradle part. They take care of the grave part if you don't march to their tune. And young people don't hear that. Yes, LBJ was a crook. That's where a lot of this stuff started. I mean, they really cut loose. That is when they started the birthright citizenship. The Constitution's clear on the matter, okay? We don't have law. If a person is in this country and we do not have lawful jurisdiction over them, and they have a child, we don't have lawful jurisdiction over that child. They're not. And Trump is the first one to pick up on that. He said that about 4 years ago. That's right. When you have more passing away than you do births, like in DC, more terminated pregnancies than births, there's a very big problem with morality, spirituality, and the value of life. Now, what it's getting down to, as these issues that have been picked, okay, they didn't want to rock the boat too much when they did Roe v. Wade. One thing was enough. That was the big kahuna, okay, as far as our spirituality, our morals as a country, our ability to address state by state that issue. That was enough for then, okay? So they took a little break and had to let that settle down. People were expecting there to be the possibility of violence over that. Okay, now we've come to this term and we're tackling these huge issues that very few liberals can justifiably argue with. You cannot argue for using race as a basis to treat people. Since the 1960s, that's been in every grade school class, high school class for the past 60, 70 years, not to judge people by their race. So how can they accept a small group? Nobody can justifiably say that that was an unfair decision. Paying off somebody else's college debt, that is a communist solution, to just forgive debt. And the average person can see that these colleges are getting away with passing out half-baked garbage diplomas, getting paid huge amounts of money for them by the guy digging a ditch. Okay? But I think the big thing that's really going to come out of that is, remember when they said, oh, Trump is being sued because of Trump University. He didn't deliver on what he promised, blah, 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 blah. And it was a nuisance suit. So Trump went ahead and settled. I know, and most of you all know, that a person or group of people signed up to Trump University to learn how to sell real estate. They were morons when they went in the classrooms, and they were morons when they left. That wasn't Trump's fault, but that was the crux of their argument. These people had thick skulls. They were stupid. There were a lot of people who went and benefited, learned about real estate, learned about contract law, actually went out and had careers in real estate. They didn't mention them, but Trump went ahead and settled. That was early in his presidency because he had to be president of the United States, not sit around and argue with morons. Well, what about these universities handing out advanced rainbow flag pottery degrees for $100,000? Turnabout's fair play, right? How many thousands of people have got diplomas? The only thing they'd be good for is when there's another toilet paper shortage. That were promised the moon and the stars. And it's worthless. So that's the boomerang I'm waiting for to come back. One of many, since they gave Trump grief over his Trump University and a couple of low IQ losers. How about when these people have these ridiculous degrees? That will be sweet, as far as I'm concerned. So let's see. Oh, somebody, let's see, Karen. Well, they already took fathers out of the home years ago. Debbie, they already took fathers out years ago. And after they broke up the families, well, they started, like in Michigan and, the Rust Belt, they started taking away manufacturing and jobs. So you had, young men growing up with no dad, no job, no prospect for jobs, no money. Where's the end goal? What's going to happen there? That's not hard to predict. And then you introduce things that get them quick money, right? Little pieces of powder and crack they sell. Then you can put them in jail for a long time, right? They can't take a lunchbox and go to work. They got nothing to do all day. So yeah, then you encourage them to go down to Planned Parenthood. And that's when the real process starts with destroying human beings. Hi, Jerry Lee. How are you doing? That's right. We can't fix moron. We can't fix stupid. IQ rates dropping for decades. That's right. I am. So I think there's going to be huge opportunity. As someone who was young and up and coming in the field of law and medicine, there's going to be huge opportunities because both those fields are going to be totally reworked and regutted. And if somebody's got their head on right and then down with the program, understands the Constitution, understands liberty, understands the proper function of government, understands what the color of law is, when somebody loses their rights under the color of law and they can take on clients who have been harmed by bureaucrats, who have violated civil rights under the color of law, they will be making millions. I'm not kidding you. And some of these young people that are going into the medical field, if they just one medicine, and please do not put it in the chats, okay? One that very early on Mr. T was talking about, that was very cheap and used all over the world, like aspirin. They're finding out that it goes directly after cancer cells and leaves healthy cells alone. A lot of the people that I've been talking about that aren't up with all the stuff we're up with, okay? They need to find out that the couple that owned the rights to manufacture that particular pharmaceutical, okay, mysteriously passed away from this earth, right? Right at the beginning of the demic, okay? People don't know that. People don't know that. We get on Rumble sometime. I'll talk about it some more if you don't know about it. That's right, Donna. That's a good way to spell it, but people know what you mean. And the couple that had the exclusive rights or a huge portion of the market of manufacturing that for, I think, something like 10 cents a tablet. They could have made as much as you wanted for 10 cents a tablet. One of them was hanging off a doorknob, and they said that they both decided they wanted to leave the world at the same time. This multi-millionaire couple, older couple, that just so happened to be major players in the production of that medicine, ended up out of here. In a red scarf. They used a red scarf from the doorknob. You guys remember that? That red scarf was supposed to be a symbol. And that's what I tell newbies, and leave it at that. They can go look at BitChute, Rumble, all the stuff themselves, and hear the way out stories. What I just said about that couple, all in the paper. Nothing else beyond that. They can find out all that stuff themselves. I'm not going to spend an hour telling them all the other things that I've heard that'll lead me to another rabbit hole, another rabbit hole, another rabbit hole. No, I'll show them the opening to the rabbit hole. Newbies, you show them the opening. And that's the opening. Mr. T said that worked good. Donna spelled HYD or HYC, worked good. A couple that had control over a significant portion of that market, very inexpensive, was willing to provide as much as this country needed, ended up leaving this earth under suspicious circumstances because they reportedly did not want to live anymore, just like Jeffrey E. Jeffrey E. Okay, that's the rabbit hole I pointed to the newbies, and anything crazy they hear after that, they can filter out themselves. They're not going to hear it from me. Just because I want to appear like I'm smart or I know more, I tell them every crazy thought and get into lizards in Antarctica, and you know what I mean. That's right. They keep voting for the politicians that actually had slaves. And that was part of the argument Friday night, because the old MSM talking point is that the party switched names, that Republicans became Democrats and Democrats became Republicans. What kind of idiocy and stupidity is that? But, I don't mean to call the person I was talking to Friday, names, but that is the kind of crap they pump in people's heads. And we've got decades to undo that. The Republican Party has always been the party of Lincoln. It's always been the Republican Party of Reagan. Same direct line, no flip, no break. The southern states were almost all Democrat. Look up George Wallace, okay? Look up Harry Byrd. Take it on back, 50s, 60s, 40s, 30s, 20s, 1910, on back to the Civil War, always were Democrats. And anybody saying any different is talking out their backside, because I can point to specific politicians all the way back. That I don't know what we'll do with people like that, Gary. Point at an elephant and they'll see a zebra. It's right. It's annoying, and it's hard to. I almost lost my. Well, I don't know if I tell a story, but I almost got nasty yesterday. Not nasty, but let my exasperation show with strong words. I'll put it that way. I almost did, because hey, I am a happy warrior. Okay. Hey. Enjoy this. That's what part of my thumbnail was going to be. Enjoy the light. Excuse me while I was sipping my coffee. This is a time you see Geraldo Rivera crying and getting shown the door. He could say he's quitting all he wants. Did you see the video when he was in his boat? And he said, I can get to work faster by boat than I can by the expressway, but I'm quitting Fox News. Well, they told me I can't come on the 5, blah, blah, blah. And I felt like saying to him, is that a battery operated boat, Geraldo? Okay. Is that boat running off of hay and leaves? No, I bet you it's running off of gas, you creep. And anyway, so they play it off like he's made the decision, right? And they gave him this cornball send off where he's crying, everybody's saying how wonderful he was. But like, he got his walking papers, okay? And Tucker Carlson, you compare them. Where is Geraldo going to be 3 weeks, a month from now, compared to where Tucker Carlson was 3 weeks or a month after he got the boot? After they got rid of him because of that dumb onion thing. It's a joke, and that's why I've got Tucker in the middle laughing, and you got Geraldo crying, and then that beautiful picture of Joy Behar sneering. She looks like something out of a Greek mythology. She looks like that creature with the snakes. What the name of that? If you look at them, they go blind. Methuselah or something like that. I don't know, or I can't hear it. But they said the rumors going around that they were going to cancel the witch's cauldron there. What do you call it? The View. But I heard they were going to be closing up shop for like 10 days to maybe 2 weeks. They're good. But hey, that's the story. And some people try to play it off. Well, it's the holidays. What holiday? 4th of July? They don't care about 4th of July. That bunch of rebels. What do they call Obama? Renegades. Okay. So anyway, but then they said, well, it's only going to be for 10 or 11 days, maybe 2 weeks. They're not shutting down the View altogether. Well, let's see about that. Okay. Because they're not in production right now. There are going to be at least a week and a half with no new shows. I bet you they don't come back. And those late night comedians and all these other freaks, they were going to be temporarily gone because of writer's strike, right? They're still gone. So I'm way behind the chat. So anyway, I left off with Zebra. Let's see. Thomas Sowell is coming out with good YouTube videos, and I see a lot of young creators, black creators that are reviewing Thomas Sowell, and they're reviewing a lot of different things. Kids weren't raised to learn about a lot of American heroes. Maybe get a quick passing discussion of Crispus Attucks, and they claim he was a slave and all, and then they go on. They don't talk about Frederick Douglass. They don't talk about any people that were what we would consider now to be conservatives. That's right, Nikki. We need to get control of the media, and that's what's coming. I mean, hey, Geraldo has been a force to really give misinformation and undermine our culture since the 70s. The 70s. And now he's history. How you doing, Doug? Matthew, how are you? Well, Kim, he won't send your blood pressure through the roof anymore. He's history. Just look at my thumbnail. He's crying like a baby. Richard, I see what you said. Ha. Yeah, I know, Falafel. I got her Methuselah. What's that woman in the Jason and the Argonauts? She had snakes in her hair, and if you looked at her, you know they had Medusa. Thank you, Matthew. Medusa. Oops. Oh, my chats are jumping around. So let's we'll take bets and see if the view's coming back or not. I don't think it's coming back. Thank you. Falafel says, give me a thumbs up. Actors about to strike, Marla says. Well, the studios have been paralyzed except for the CGI garbage they've been putting out, destroying Star Wars, destroying Marvel Universe, destroying Indiana Jones. That has been a complete disaster. Lucasfilms, they're just pumping out garbage. Oh, so they did. Yeah, somebody said that earlier. Spanky, welcome aboard. Said they found some the white powder. Yeah, Nikki. Yeah, I remember when the Roots came out. I wasn't a kid, but I remember it coming out. I was like, man, you had all different kinds of households. You had rough households, and you had high dollar households. If you were in the house in a rich situation, there were plenty of white people that wished they were slaves. And that's the truth. I mean, and you had some terrible situations. Watch the movie Gone with the Wind. Read the book Gone with the Wind. Richard, are you in trouble? Well, no, you're not in trouble, sir. You said something about the rhymes with Mountain Dew, or you know how I'm about picking on religion now. Ian dated Medusa. Well, yeah. Too bad. That was a two-bagger, right? Yeah, they ruined the Punisher, Matthew. Well, we'll bring it all back. We'll bring it all back. Man, I got comic books at 10 cents. I got 12-cent comic books. I got Bat Masterson. I've got all kinds of stuff from artists from way back in the day. Jack Kirby, of course, when Stanley was first starting. So, kids need heroes. And I tell you, the girls had books about nursing. I had some books from 1910. Jonathan, what was it? Swift. Jonathan Swift, was it? 1910. I had a set of those books. All right. Marla gets to go see The Sound of Freedom. How many is going to see that? Now, I put up a link in my community page, and I had maybe 9 or 10 thumbs up. I probably more than that now, but I'm sorry to say I was a little disappointed because I had to go find that link and post it. Sponsors that support NBC, after NBC put that quote up saying that the Rainbow Crowd was justified in saying we're coming for your children. The post is on there on my community page, and to contact those sponsors and say, hey, the company's got to straighten up because I'm not buying anything from you. That's right. Gone with the Wind was a wonderful movie. And I asked people to watch, gosh, I don't know why I have such a hard time remembering the name of the Mel Gibson movie, not Passion of the Christ, Apocalypto. How many people have watched Apocalypto, Gone with the Wind, Dr. Zhivago, and Ashanti? Those are the 4 movies I said would be good for people to watch and to get their Doubting Thomas friends to watch if they have any questions about our civilization and how Christ benefits civilization, human beings, to take them from sacrificing people on the top of a temple to what did Christ tell us to do? Love one another. So I don't know if I ought to type that up in a banner, what those titles are, so you guys can. Nowadays, it is a piece of cake for you guys to watch those movies. Am I right or wrong? Paint Your Wagon. Was that a John Wayne movie, Gary? Paint Your Wagon. I'll have to check that out. What year was that movie? I liked War Wagon, boy. We always liked watching War Wagon with John Wayne and Kirk Douglas, wasn't it? And I like The Last Cowboys. What westerns do I like? I just said War Wagon, and everybody liked The Shootist, which was John Wayne's last movie. I like Fistful of Dollars. I like the what was his name that did the spaghetti westerns? Anyway, ones with Charles Bronson in them, Clint Eastwood. I like the Magnificent Seven falafel. I got a VHS of the Magnificent Seven. Clint Eastwood. Oh, it's a musical, Paint Your Wagon. I want to see if my dad's got that in his video library. Unforgiven's a good one, Ian says. Rooster Cogburn. That's right, Rick. That's another good one. There's so many good ones. The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. Rio Bravo with John Wayne and Walter Brennan. Now, he did a couple of versions of that. One with Dean Martin. Dean Martin. Cowboys. That's right, Jerry Lee. The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Boy, that's I haven't seen that, but I've seen enough clips of it. Outlaw Josie Wales. Tombstone. I'm not too crazy about those modern westerns. I mean, that last one Gene Hackman did, where when he gets shot by the woman gunslinger, he does a backflip, or you see a hole through his body with light coming through it. I mean, that's when modern theaters got a little ridiculous. But I'll tell you, one of the best westerns you'll ever see, Shane. Shane, come back, Shane. You remember Shane? Pale Rider, that's good, yeah. The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, that's got a bunch of stories in it. You know, it's not just one story. It's 4 different stories. Kelly's Heroes was a military. Yeah, Alan Ladd was in that, Kim, right? Yeah. And Jack Palance. Jack Palance was the bad guy. Shane, I got that on DVD. You're a low-down Yankee liar. Prove it. I had that in one of my videos. I put that in the video after Abe got shot, and I said, well, you know, they started doing that thought in people's minds. When people get shot, they go flying backwards. Because when Shinzo Abe was assassinated, he just dropped. His knees just dropped. She went straight down. And I said, here's when this started. In the movies, people think when you get shot, you go flying backwards. And what happened was I won't give away the movie for people who haven't seen it, Shane, but one of the people that gets shot goes flying backwards. And I put that clip in there, and I got a copyright strike. I had to take it out. Ozzy and Harriet, they weren't cowboy movies. Clint Eastwood passed away, Donna? Boy, I've been looking too much at politics if I didn't notice uh, Clint Eastwood passing away. Okay, Nikki's going night-night. Thank you, Nikki. She said hit like button for me. Quickly down under. All right, folks. Well, I appreciate you all spending time with me, and here we are reminiscing about movies. I think it's great. Brings back a lot of memories. And anyway, folks, thanks for spending your precious time with me. I'll be broadcasting again soon. Let's all keep an ear to the ground, and let's all be happy about all this information that's coming out and all the light that is being shined, so we don't have to explain to the newbies in detail a bunch of stuff. We just point to these rabbit holes that the media is putting out for us, and I think they're being made to put it out for us. So anyway, you all have a great evening. I'll be talking to you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.